Lost in space and time for over 10,000 years, on a mission they were never meant to return from. They have returned from the horrible secrets of space. They are the Comic Shop.
Welcome to the Asuko Comic Shop. There's a podcast with me, Robin.
And I'm Batman. And slightly off camera, we have Evan Coy. He's
over here.
Yeah, if you can hear him.
Off camera, Evan.
He doesn't have a camera or a mic. We do have some guests with us today, though, so let's check. We have 4 guests.
Whoa, so many
I know.
people.
So let's see.
We got a Comic-Con panel in the back room today.
All right. So we have Mama's Geeky and Jonathan.
There he is.
And we also have Alex and Martin.
Good evening.
All right. So should we get into John's Kickstarter first?
Let's start with Tessa.
You want to
Yeah,
start with
let's do
Tessa?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, let's hear it.
With Mama's Geeky, mamasgeeky.com, Mama's Geeky on YouTube. This week I have some fun stuff coming up. I just got to interview a fake boy band today. If you guys know about Turning Red, you know 4town is a boy band. They're not real, but I got to interview them, so that was a ton of fun. The people behind the band, of course, so that'll be coming out very shortly. Probably tomorrow I'll be having my spoiler, The Batman discussion, live over on YouTube, so make sure you join that.
Awesome.
Mama's Geeky on YouTube, MAMASGEKY. It's right here for you guys to read it. I know Mama is spelled many a different way, so that's that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And we're just glad you're able to be here with us.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad I'm alive. I had a bit of a scare. I was eating dinner with my family at BF Chang's, and they were like, "Hey, there's an active shooter, but
Oh
first
my
pay this
God.
bill before you leave."
That is
But,
awful.
Yikes.
Yeah, but we're live.
And you went to some award show, right? Recently, like
Yes,
it was last week.
I
Yeah.
presented an award for to the Mitchells versus the Machines for Best Animated Film.
I hear that's
The
great.
Hollywood Critics Association.
I do want to see
Wow.
that. I hear that's
award, and
amazing.
That was amazing.
And she stalked Andrew Garfield.
I did. I never talked to him. I just stared at him from afar and thought, I really, really want to go tell him he's my favorite Spider-Man. But I
Can't
just
blame you.
How tall is his hair in person? Is it even taller?
It's very tall.
He's a hunk.
But he pulls it off.
Yes.
He's a hunk.
He is a
His
hunk.
hair off?
He's very hunk.
Yes.
He pulls his hair off in hunks.
Where's the toupee? First,
No.
Exclusive from Mama's Geeky.
Yeah.
Wait, now, do you think he's the one that has the enhanced spider butt?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
I-
I think that's all him.
You think so?
Who do you
'Cause
think it is? I think it's Tom Holland, right?
I don't know.
Would he out
You think
himself?
it's Toby?
Toby.
I don't know.
It's not Andrew. I don't think it's Andrew. I don't think it's
No.
Andrew because I've seen his butt in other movies. It holds up.
Well, you got people who do hair and makeup. Maybe he has a butt guy. You know,
That's
he's
true.
like
That's
he's
true.
like
You might right. It could be consistent throughout all of his films.
it might even be a union guy. You can follow him film to film. You know, just make sure
What a
that
job
butt
that
looks
was.
good. That's what I need. If I'm ever in a film, I got to get a butt guy.
Martin, who's our butt guy? Lucas.
That's me.
Let's go to John.
All right, John. What do we got?
Hey, I'm Jonathan Ashline. I was on a couple episodes ago for a Kickstarter book that we're working on, and it's going to printers next week.
All right.
Awesome.
And I even grabbed some of the artwork for the book.
Yeah,
I
let's
don't know
see
if
it.
you can see a little bit.
Maybe we toss it over here. Maybe
Yeah.
you can show it up a bit better so the audience can see it.
Yeah, let's see.
That's
Let's-
Aaron's.
Yeah.
Oh, you printed mine too. Excellent.
of
Let's see. Is this
No,
the
no,
one?
no.
Oh, in front of here.
Yeah.
You see, I'm trying to work for too many cameras.
Perfect. So that's one of the
at
characters.
that.
in
That
the
looks
book.
great.
Let's get a close up of it. Look at that detail on that face and that suit. Very insidious little shadow.
Mikhail Benson.
This is your cover artist too, right?
Yep.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
you got all the stuff in here. Let's just keep rocking and rolling right through. This.
Yeah. Another character from the book. A friend of mine, Jennifer Murphy.
Very nice.
Sweet.
Is this pencil drawing?
Yes.
Yeah, with maybe some digital touches there. Ooh, I like this one a lot. This actually reminds me of like some Gustav Klimt or something like that with the cloak.
Maddie Bouchard.
Very nice. Yeah, nice pencil texture in there. Oh, look at this this honk right here.
That's sweet. I love that.
Oh, Bront Grimm.
Like, so, ooh, we got some photo manipulation
Yep.
going
Is that
on
a
there.
Is it?
I was gonna say, is that appropriate to show on Twitch?
I didn't even check. I was just
I
like,
I
let's
think
throw
it's
the art
fine. I
up.
think
Who
it's fine.
cares?
It's art.
I was gonna say, I'm like,
I think it's tastefully done.
Oh man.
she is a very nice lady. She's a very nice lady.
Oh, this.
Wow,
this
look at
one,
that one.
This one might be my favorite one.
Yeah, I imagine. Oh,
Look
that's
at
not
this
the one I
guy.
thought you were.
Look at that face. That guy is beautiful. I was just
That's,
watching. I was watching this TV show Search Party, and there was like just this very strange looking man in one episode. I was like, this guy is great. I have to draw this guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You did.
And last but not least, I got to toot my own horn. Here's my contribution to Jonathan Ashline's book. It was fun to do.
That was good.
Yeah, I threw in that.
I
little,
really dig that.
The nice little halftone swirl there. Thanks, Photoshop.
Looks incredible.
All right.
Yep. So that's going to printers next week, and it'll be about a week and a half, 2 weeks at the printers, and then I'll bring it in here as soon as I get it.
Can I get a signed copy?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. What's that?
I'm gonna sell it.
$20. eBay, straight to eBay.
$75 for a photo with him too.
To eBay, my biggest fan.
Oh God.
Well, congrats on that. Now we got Alex. What have you been up to?
Working.
Working hard?
Really enjoying that public works.
Sure, it's great.
Greatest place to be.
You-
Really, I snuck in to join in the Batman podcast after last night's conversation. It was I don't really want to miss out on the big panel of people that are fun to talk to about comics and some such.
And Lucas.
And me.
How could you forget Lucas?
I'm here too.
You
Right.
know, sometimes he's Batman.
Yeah.
I
You
am Batman
had some
today.
good stuff you noticed some stuff that I also noticed. So like when you said it, I'm like, I'm not crazy.
No,
So there's-
we're often on the same wavelength there.
I think so. Like,
is crazy.
like whenever I see you buy books here, and I happen to be here at the same time, I'll kind of creep up to the counter and see like what books you're buying, and be like, okay, I need that one and that one and that one.
You're like Andrew Garfield, and he is like Tessa.
Yes,
Always behind you watching.
that's right. I'm just watching your hair go higher and higher.
All right. Last and most definitely least here, we got Martin.
Yep,
So,
I'm here because
what
you
have you
told
been
me I
up
had
to? I'm that?
I'm here because you told me I had to be.
Legally obligated to be here, Martin.
I am one of my 6 contractually obligated appearances on the podcast.
The comic shop does a podcast.
Poorly.
Well, we never said quality.
It's a
We're
work
doing
in
it, though.
progress. All right.
That's the joke, though. Is the comic shop does a podcast, and I often screw it up. And it's like, is it does a pod? We're doing a podcast.
right.
Comic shop is a podcast. I don't know.
It's one of the two. We'll figure it out one day. We're on episode 20. This is our
This is episode 20.
episode 20. Can you
What?
believe it?
Oh.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah,
It is exciting.
I wish we had like Cool in the gang to play, but we don't have the license for that.
No, we don't.
Yeah, it's a really bad
we're not-
idea
we're not that
to
big.
get one of our really solid casts to just have the audio muted for the entire thing because we have a copyright DMCA strike against us.
What about Ave Maria? Ave Maria, how about that one? Can we play that one? Is that
gotta be a
royalty
public
free?
domain one. There's got to be one out there, a public domain one.
All right, that sounded Jonathan, I have picked out who the murder victim is.
It's not me.
You can bet some bills on it.
Microphone.
All right. Let's
Oh,
get into
wow.
the Batman talk, shall we?
What's that?
Do we have the go ahead from Evan? Off camera, Evan.
Yeah, go.
All right. So the Batman.
Let's how about we go around again and do like a one word review.
One word.
One word.
Wow, you're
That's
putting
it.
me on the spot.
One
I'm
word.
glad I'm almost last.
That's hard.
Uh,
well,
what-
the last is worse though because you might run out of words.
I'm gonna
I'm
give up.
just gonna use a word. Doesn't matter.
Can I use a phrase?
No, one word.
Can I even do a hyphenate?
One
Batman.
One word.
That's
One word.
poten-
I had to do this in a college class of mine one time. One word review. So it's tough. But Aaron, starting with you. You go.
You better not take mine because I got one word.
Gothic.
Oh, that's
I
good.
should have gone first. All right.
That was good.
Tassa, what do we got?
I'm gonna say magnificent.
Magnificent. Okay, I would agree.
Psychological.
Interesting.
brooding.
Yeah, that's fair.
Long.
He says.
Somebody has to say it.
Evan, what's yours?
I don't have one. Go.
Can we
All
add
right.
more words now? Can we discuss it more than one word?
No, we're done. That was a great job, everyone.
did
Thanks
it.
for stopping in. Thanks for stopping in.
It was tough, but we did it, guys.
Aaron, start us off. Give
Yes.
us a non-spoiler.
A non-spoiler?
Yes.
Just
Yeah, keep it away from Lucas.
All right, so I got to come at it from the art perspective. I know Francesco Francavilla was his work was referenced heavily for the look and feel of the Batman character. I thought that
Who is that?
paid off big time. An artist. He's working with he's
What
doing
type
a
of artist?
comicsology thing.
What's he work with?
I mean anything. He works digitally. He works with ink. He might even paint. But he's been around for a long time.
Okay.
He did Afterlife with Archie. He's done a ton of stuff.
Sure.
He's done a ton of stuff. But he did just some illustrations, I think, of Batman 77. You ever seen those? But like with the muscle car instead of the traditional Batmobile. And I love that they went in that direction and made him so much more of like a guy rather than like a sports car as a person. You know what I mean? Like they've made in previous films.
Right. He's grounded.
Yeah, like when he steps around with the boots and stuff.
Boots are pretty grounded.
Yeah, those boots. The boots are
The
very
boots
grounded.
are pretty grounded.
You know,
Absolutely.
we don't want to get into
Spoiler word,
spoilers.
I'm going to spoil something.
Yeah, we're getting real close to the edge of the spoiler with the
He's
grounded
wearing
boots.
boots. I'm sorry if you didn't know that.
He has
Are-
his bat suit. Is that too far?
But highly
dark spray. You know.
highly functional.
But what were some of the expectations going in based off the trailers? John, let's start with you.
With who?
John.
I think Pattinson was a huge question going into this. Like a lot of people were
Right,
wondering.
yeah.
Like a riddle.
Yeah,
He was like a riddle,
It was
sure.
Very, riddle-like, and I think he crushed it.
He killed it.
Yeah,
He's a great actor.
He
and
is.
he's been in some fantastic films besides the Twilight stuff.
yeah. Lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
Twilight's good.
Tessa defends Twilight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
here you
it's-
go.
Girl.
I'm a girl.
Oh, yeah.
But
Fake
I
fan.
like Twilight. I like Twilight. I've got the books. I like the movies. I mean,
Robert Pattinson in it.
he
so.
was good in Twilight. Just
He,
'cause
no, he's a
sparkled.
good
Don't-
actor. No, right.
It was not his choice to
He
sparkle.
was he
It
was
was
very
right,
sparkly.
exactly. It's
He was
written that
also
way in the
good
pages.
Harry Potter.
He was in Harry
in
Potter.
it. Yeah, that's
Oh, wow.
right. I always
He
forget
died
that.
in Harry Potter.
I haven't seen Harry Potter.
Oh, that's a spoiler. Sorry, guys.
Come
You
on.
haven't
never
seen
saw
Harry
it.
Potter.
I was thinking about
Darth
watching it.
Vader is also Luke's father.
You're
Well,
kidding.
Huh.
Oh my god.
I thought he was a sled.
A sled?
Rosebud.
Oh wow. We're just.
We are getting
All right,
off
all right.
topic.
Back to
It's like
back
monkey
to
bars
Robert
of reference to
Pattinson
reference. Yeah, Robert Pattinson.
here. I would agree with you, John. I knew his previous work. I've seen him in The Lighthouse. He also did Good Time, which is the Safdie brothers, great film. So I knew he had the acting chops to pull this off. And with Matt Reeves behind it also, as the director, I mean, he's done some great work. You know, Planet of the Apes, the last two, War and Dawn, which were both good films as well. I knew Matt Reeves, going in. There's a good creative team behind it. Where, if Matt Reeves has the confidence in Robert Pattinson, then I will too. Martin, yes, you had your hand up.
I had zero expectations going into this movie.
I
I felt like several famous directors lately who's like, why do we need another one of these? Which is very uncommon.
I disagree.
Like,
Give me the
again, here
Batman.
we go,
I
they're
want
gonna do this
Batman
over and over again,
every
they're gonna-
day.
And you and Tessa made me go see it, and
You're
it
right,
was-
yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It
was a good experience, especially we got to see it early, and I thought
Yeah.
that was awesome. Like it was it was weird too. It was a full theater, right? I don't even think for
Fairly
Spider-Man
few.
No Way Home. I'm trying to remember. Maybe they were sold out, I guess. But I was gonna say that was the first sold out theater experience I've had almost 2 years now. Because of COVID, right?
Tell me about your experience.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear how the event went for you.
Yeah, so the thing I love about it is with like that event, it was the fan first event technically, right? And so it's all people who are like diehard
Big fans, right?
which means they're gonna react to stuff and they're gonna, which is always fun. So a lot of times when I see a movie early, it's like a press screening, and I think I talked about this before when I was here for No Way Home. No one says anything. They sit there and they write their notes.
Right,
they don't
right.
cheer and they don't clap and
They wanna get the first review,
I do because like I'm a fan as well. So it's nice to have that experience with a group of fans, and everyone is kind of enjoying it. And going into this, I was nervous about the length, to be perfectly honest with you. I was like, 3 hours again? Like, I'm sick of movies that are over 2 hours. This one's like 3. I'm like, do we need it? Is it going to be 3 hours just to be 3 hours?
Right. Sure.
And while there's certainly some fat that could have been trimmed, I feel like it warranted with the character development in the world being.
Definitely.
Martin and I had that conversation that I feel like every bit of it was warranted.
Martin,
Right, Martin?
Yes,
Martin, what do
I
you
thought
think
it was
about
very
that?
warranted. No,
You had some pacing issues with it, right?
just a couple the second time through, but I think it's just because it's the second time you're watching. a movie,
Right,
you know where
I'd
it's
feel the
going,
same
what's
way.
there. But no, the 3 hours, it was, I think, an hour and a half in before the first time I looked to see what time it was, and I was shocked that it was that far into it already.
Sure, yeah.
So I think it was really warranted just because the world building. It was a lot with just these characters, developing them out, having arcs for most of them.
Right. Which we'll get
background
into in
ones.
spoiler.
But yeah, really, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, no, I agree. Should we just jump into spoilers now? I mean, that's where all the fun is, right?
No one cares what Alex has to say.
Dexter, what do you have to say?
I was
Your
pretty
non-spoiler
much on
review.
the same page as Martin, where I can. Yep. Yes. How's this radio voice?
Can hear you loud and clear.
No, I was kind of in the same boat as Martin, where I had no expectations going into the movie. We're going through years and years and years of everybody crapping on actors. Like, people thought that there was no way that Christian Bale could be a good Batman.
Heath
Michael
Ledger is a good-
Keaton,
yeah, right.
Heath Ledger is a Joker. Like, everybody swore up and down there was no way that. Well, George Clooney.
Val Kilmer,
That's
you
a
know.
different topic. Stay frosty. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Like, at no point during the movie did I really feel like it dragged to a point where I was like, how close to 3 hours are we? But by the end, I was deeply engrossed, and barring a few people who were talking around me, it didn't really take me out of the immersion. But there were some moments where, like, I found myself so engrossed. I was like, I really just want more of this.
No, I agree, and I think we are getting more of it because they have announced a Gotham PD show, and they did also announce an Arkham show. But now it seems like the Gotham PD, and the Arkham are going to be the same. But I had
Another Gotham show.
from
CSI Gotham.
the elevator pitch I saw online, which is all rumors, but whatever, is pretty much it's going to be like Gotham Central.
Yeah.
But it's going to be year one Batman's, and it's going to be the the Gotham PD really finding out who this guy is, which we kind of get in this film as well. But I feel like they more just kind of accepted Batman. Like we have Gordon and Batman, they're kind of a duo, and the police at first are like, who the heck's this guy? Why is he here?
I'll just watch The Shield and pretend it's about Batman.
Well, Gotham Central, that was co-created by Ed Brubaker.
Ed
right?
Brubaker, yeah.
Michael Lark and Greg Rucka.
Yeah.
Well, I love Ed Brubaker,
And-
so.
Yeah, so don't knock it till you try it.
I agree.
Check out some
One
Gotham
separation
Central.
from Sean
Maybe
Phillips.
I'm wrong.
Take a drink, trust.
I think you're
Sean
wrong.
Phillips.
Read some Gotham
Do you know
Central.
anything about those shows? Have you heard anything?
No, I haven't
You
heard
have the
anything.
inside scoops, right?
I don't. I've heard literally exactly what you've said.
I heard they also are making a Catwoman show. They're working.
should.
on it.
Yes, I heard that there might be a cat, but you never. That's the thing.
You
just-
never-
You never
right,
know if it's
right.
actually
You
going to
never know.
happen. Too.
And
like,
I didn't mean to cut you off, but a half hour before I saw on Instagram that the Gotham
Discuss you
PD.
off again, we'll have
You can, Tessa, you
cut it-
can,
we'll
you
cut
can
the
just
mic.
yell at me, okay? Just yell at me, please. No, that the Gotham PD show is on hold right now. Matt Reeves has stated it's on hold. So I don't know if we're getting that, but we're definitely, hopefully, we're getting a Penguin show because Penguin by far was my favorite character in the film. He was before I even saw the film. I knew this is I love this guy.
You're looking for that, like, Bat Sopranos? Is that?
Exactly.
There you go.
It is funny because when I was watching the
Chop, chop,
trailer
chop.
and saw, the Penguin, I thought of Tony Soprano. And in the film, I don't think.
It doesn't play out.
It do-
exactly
it-
like
it
that.
doesn't.
I know what you mean, though. He's a
Right.
very grizzled kind of mafia.
He's a bigger guy. He's got kind of the black, comb back hair, what have you, right? And so when I saw him, I'm like, it looks kind of like Tony Soprano, like a beat up Tony Soprano, if you will. And there was one line in the trailer and in the film, right, that when he was like first introduced when Batman's beating on the guys in the club. We're getting into spoiler territory now, so spoiler warning.
Batman beat somebody up.
Can you believe that? So spoiler territory. And he's like, "Whoa, sweetheart, slow down." I'm like, I freaking love that. It's like his first line in the movie, and I'm like, that's amazing. Like that, it reads like Tony Soprano to me too. But I don't know. That was just me. But why don't we talk about some of our favorite characters? Why don't we, Tessa?
Yeah, sure.
Favorite character?
Oh, favorite character. It's hard. Okay.
What?
I want to say something so dumb that's going to make people so angry with me.
Listen, that's what this podcast is all about. Okay?
Aquaman breathes underwater? I didn't know that.
I'm going to say, like, if I have to pick a favorite, something I was most excited about,
Sure.
I guess. The thing that stands out to me that I'm like, I can't wait to watch that scene again. You guys are all going to know what I'm going to say. It's Joker.
Joker,
Like,
sure.
I'm so excited about that because I love Barry. I can never pronounce his last name.
I don't.
And I knew he was like rumored that's who he was going to be. I think on IMDb he was like officer something. And I knew when we didn't see him in that first scene, I was like, okay, then he's definitely Joker because he's
Right.
if he's really an officer, he's going to be in the first. Like, yeah, exactly. He's not just going to randomly show up later. Hey guys, I got a transfer into Gotham. So, so I was like, oh, he's definitely going to be Joker. And then that laugh.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm here for this laugh.
Right. At first, I heard those rumors too that going in that we're going to see a glimpse of the Joker, which we get, right. I was hoping we'd kind of get the face reveal, but we didn't. And,
Well, kind of though.
we did.
We did a
And
little
that's
bit.
kinda
And
what
the
I'm
second
getting-
time around, I noticed it more.
Oh
too.
yeah, but when I was watching it in the theaters, I heard someone next to me say Two-Face. They thought it was Two-Face because you see kind of
Okay, I can
the-
see that.
Oh, 'cause you're
the
gonna-
scarred face,
Yeah.
right? And they thought Two-Face, and I'm like, it's not Two-Face. I know better than that. I'm smarter than these guys.
Joker.
And I knew it was the Joker. And then obviously once you hear that laugh, you're like, okay, that's obviously the Joker.
So good.
What?
Before we fall down the slippery slope of spoilers, because we're
Sure.
getting real close to that territory.
We already announced.
I feel like
I know, but
We're already in it. I mean, we announced the Jokers in
there
the
was never a
film.
moment where we distinguished pre-spoilers.
No, I
and-
said spoilers.
Yeah, but he said spoiler.
I made it
Yeah,
clear.
yeah, yeah.
When I started talking about the Penguin and how
Well, yeah, you
I have a
said,
crush on him.
Spoilers, and then immediately went into talking about spoilers of the movie.
Listen, it takes
Oh, the
2
space.
seconds to click off. Right? They got plenty of time.
You with your Gen Z lightning fast fingers, maybe.
Can I
Our
say-
ligaments are worn
listen,
out.
Listen, we're just built different, okay?
We need plenty of time to do our warm ups before we click off.
You
We're old,
boomers,
Lucas.
right? Yeah.
Jonathan, do you have a moment?
Yeah, I've got a character. I was going to say my favorite's Batman. It's maybe the most obvious, but we get so much Batman in this movie.
We do.
Quality Batman.
It's quality Batman, and he's so like
A mess.
a mess. Yeah,
I am so happy to see like Batman just look terrible in his human form.
Oh yeah.
right.
Like that was highly enjoyable for me.
I almost looked at Batman and Bruce Wayne as like separate characters, and I think that's what
Yeah,
the
I think
filmmakers
that's very
wanted, right?
intentional.
I got to drop a little soundbite here. To me, when I saw Robert Pattinson's Batman with like the makeup across his face, like looking like garbage in the dark, like in front of a bunch of screens, I was like, "This is militant Robert Smith from The Cure.
Yes.
This is him working on an
Take a
album that's
drink.
never coming out,
I'm not
just
sure
like
who that
crying
is.
in his attic."
I don't know who that is.
You're off the show.
So unfortunate.
This is it.
You're off the show.
That's all right.
We'll play some Friday I'm in Love for you later on.
Oh boy. All right, let's get back on track here. But yes, the Batman. I mean, it's his film, right?
Yeah.
And I love how we focus more on the Batman than Bruce Wayne. It feels like, Batman is Bruce Wayne's
The
real
character,
identity,
yeah.
right? And Bruce Wayne's more the mask, if you will.
Oh, for sure.
And
In
we,
which
got the detective side of him for like the first time.
right, I know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which was just refreshing to see. It was just
It's only taken
Right.
us, 30 years of Batman movies now?
yeah.
Well, not
Yeah.
to mention the serials back in like what the 40s.
Which I have seen I had
Does he detect in those?
VHS of that where he's just swinging around in the background.
Oh, that's not detecting.
No, there's not a lot of detecting. It's mostly just campy old stuff.
He does some detecting though, which is awesome to see.
I love an
know,
intelligent
that-
protagonist.
What's that?
I love an intelligent protagonist, like when they
What?
they have abilities and resources and they use them in smart ways.
I do
You
wanna-
almost never see that.
Sure, yeah. I like how he messes up. Him and Gordon, they mess up. They think, this the rat with wings is the Penguin. My
That
favorite.
scene is great. too.
Fantastic. And I love this. I love how he waddles away too. The Penguin. It's awesome. I'm like, that's perfect right there.
But tell us more about that scene.
Oh, that scene. No, I just love that scene because I just love how Penguin's just like, what are you guys, like idiots?
What are you
Like,
guys,
two of the
stupid?
smartest detectives or whatever. He's like, come on.
World's greatest.
It's like, no. World's great. Yeah, it's so good.
And what was it? It was like
Corrects them.
Spanish.
The
right?
Spanish. What does he say? That's the worst Spanish. I've
Right.
ever heard," or something. I just love that scene so much. Because that's where I think Penguin really shines. I mean, he shines all throughout.
I think he. Oh, yeah.
but
100%.
that scene was like,
That's
the Penguin owned it.
100%. Yeah. And I also let's talk while we're talking about the Penguin. Let's talk about the car chase, which to me I think is like one of the best car chases I've seen ever. I was in the seat and my seat was shaking. I was like, holy crap! I was like, yeah, let's
It
go.
was actually shaking.
Right, it was. That was.
It was legit shaking. Like the theater.
Disappointed the second time seeing it at a regular.
Right. Yeah. No. It was our seats were like
Less
shaking.
cool.
It's less cool.
But no, it got my adrenaline pumping. I was all there, and I thought that was awesome. And the shot too, with Batman. It's from the Penguin's point of view,
Yeah.
and he's hanging upside down like a bat. I'm like,
Well, especially when he like leans over, like he
Oh, I
leans
know.
down
That
and
was
looks.
great.
he just
like-
kind of stares for a second. I'm
Oh,
like,
it's so good.
yeah.
The humanization of Batman and the him being able to move around and like have gear on him, but also still be tactical. Like there's
Right.
so much more that can be done. Like don't get me wrong, I love the Michael Keaton Batman, but like
Right.
Yeah,
Stiff neck.
so much.
Didn't move.
Yeah, it was
With
that was a prop issue. Like the cowl.
Right,
was-
they couldn't-
The
they
cowl
couldn't,
was
yeah.
built so stiff that he actually couldn't pivot his head.
Yes, but it's like so like refreshing to see him do a human thing. You know
Right,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like lean over and
It wasn't explained away with technology, like going to Lucius Fox, being like, I can't move, Lucius.
But speaking of supporting characters, Gordon and the Batman Forever. Like, could we just have those two guys just broing out? Like, I don't even want to see him. I don't want to see him go through a house and like clear a house. I just want to see them hang out and just
And
like
have
be like throwing
coffee.
cards into a hat.
I just want to
Be like, you think there'll be any crime tonight, Jim? It's like, I don't know, but we're here in case there is. Like
Yeah.
they just did. I mean, Jeffrey Wright. I mean,
He's so good.
probably
He's
my
fantastic.
favorite character because Jeffrey Wright. Come on,
No, I agree. He's a great actor too.
just amazing, like perfect.
I think across the board, the casting was
That's the
phenomenal.
thing.
great.
It was
Phenomenal.
everyone worked well together
Phenomenal.
too.
And they pulled
Yes.
weight, I think.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They all had their moments, and they all, it wasn't like there was one person. I didn't feel there was like one person that was like, you could cut, and I don't care.
Yeah, we were
You
actually
know?
kind of like talking about that before everybody got here. It's like, was there a breakout role? And like, I racked my brain and realized that there was no breakout for me. Like everybody served their purpose extremely well, and put out a phenomenal performance.
Yeah, 100%.
I might say, well, because you've got so many established actors who are coming in and kind of doing their thing, and a lot of them have kind of done variations on what they did in the Batman. And maybe what I'm about to say, because this actress maybe has done something that's kind of in the same zone as what she did. But I thought Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman was like, that was also like perfect.
It's definitely one of the better ones that I've ever seen, and didn't feel overly flawed in ways that made it feel campy or cheap.
Was it better than Michelle Pfeiffer though?
I think
I mean,
different.
If I wanted a weird
It was different.
latex suit that was stitched together, I guess.
like an evolution of like all the pre-existing versions of Catwoman. I think she feels like the logical evolution of that character, but also being actually referencing the comics, which like
Right. I mean,
the Halle Berry movie still drives me insane.
Talk to us about Catwoman.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say she reminds me of Frank Miller's Catwoman quite a
yeah,
bit.
yeah. It's like ripped. straight from the
It
page.
feels
I
very
love it.
much off the page. And one of my favorite moments, I totally geeked out in the theater when, spoilers,
We passed it. We passed that
when
line already.
Selena scratches Falcone
Yeah.
and
Right.
leaves the scar marks.
Which I will say,
Yeah.
before that scene, it looked like he had scars there.
Thank you.
It-
I was
right.
especially. I looked for it the second time.
Right.
I thought I was like weird because
It was-
he's looking at the news casting
Right,
or
sure,
whatever.
sure,
And
yeah.
you kind of see with the light. There's like
Yeah, it looks like he has scratches.
It does.
there.
And then when he goes outside, it's like not even bloody anymore. And I'm like, apparently she didn't do a very good job scratching him.
She's
It
a
looked
bad
like
cat.
he's the way he screamed, it seemed like he was in pain. But he's outside and like the blood's gone. It's all dried up.
It's because he's the Jesus.
or is it PG-13?
Yeah.
I'm glad someone else noticed that because I thought I was
Yeah.
crazy.
I think it was maybe like 10 minutes, before he got scratched, and I noticed it. And I'm like, what?
It's
what
before
is
she
going
goes in and
on?
calls him dad. Spoiler.
Spoiler.
But you know,
Spoiler alert.
it's right because it's when he's watching the newscasting of the
There's your
voicemail.
yeah.
Matt Reeves released the scratch cut.
Yes, I know. I'm glad I'm okay. That makes me happy.
You're
Sorry,
not crazy.
No,
Okay,
no,
I
just
thought
love that
the
they
same
gave him
thing.
The scratch marks, and that's right out of Long Halloween, and
Right, yeah.
I just felt like the movie was paying so much homage to the comics.
Well, they gave it out they gave that comic out
Oh,
at,
yeah.
at the fan
Which
premiere.
And the whole
How's
the
your
With the
whole
like
copy,
movie.
Lucas?
on the ride home, I had soda in the back,
Oh no.
and it
Collector's
spilled
cup and
on it,
collector's
and it ruined it. I'm like, are you gotta be kidding?
Well, guess what? When we went back with the girls,
Yeah.
there was more, and we grabbed another one. So I have 3. So I'll give you one.
No, you don't have to do that.
I will. I got
I
3 of them. What do I
appreciate-
need 3 of them
I
for?
appreciate it.
juggle.
Don't give them.
He has $20.
And the Long Halloween is like one of my favorite comics. It's one of the comics that I first read, and
Sure you didn't read the
I
short
got home,
Halloween?
I pulled in my driveway, and I saw it. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But what's going on?
Oh, we're just
They're
talking
pointing
about
at each
it.
other. Just let them.
You guys are interrupting me.
No, they're just talking about
I'm
you.
gonna interrupt you then.
It's time to interrupt Lucas every time he talks for the next hour.
I was going out of my way not to interrupt you.
You did a bad
So we want
job.
to talk about Long Halloween?
No.
I mean,
I
well,
wanna
let's
say that
touch
the
upon
Riddler
it.
was one of my favorite things after the mask reveal. When I realized that it really was Paul Dano behind there, and I immediately went back to Taking Lives and was like, "Oh wow, you just pulled this insane character back out of your hat."
Yeah, 100%. Like,
Yeah,
But
Paul
not this
Dano?
green question mark hat.
that's very true. We didn't have to look at like the green sequins. and,
sure, yeah,
Do
right.
you miss the leotard?
They should have just put him in like an orange leotard.
I'm hoping for the sequel they do more of a Jim Carrey take on the character.
God.
I think that'd
Haven't we had enough of that? Like,
Yes.
be. You just go back and watch Batman and Robin.
what's that?
Oh no, Aaron has a book.
Oh yeah,
Is this bad?
yeah, put it on.
Oh man, is there a podcast going on?
Yeah, and, this is going to be Aaron reads The Comic Shop does a podcast. The Long Halloween does Batman.
Oh, only if Evan does live music will I read it. That future episode. Look for it.
One critique I have of the film, and it ties into the Riddlers. We see this social media. I hate when movies put social media in their film. They don't do it right. They don't do it accurate. You do. I don't mind it if it's like the social media that we saw. It's like, what is this?
but
Like
that's,
this?
That's very much weird dark web. Like,
Oh, that could- yeah, I guess.
it served a purpose. It's not like he was going on
Like
Rumble
Insta-
or,
oh, yeah, sure.
whatever your
TikTok.
favorite. So yeah, like, he wasn't posting the
not doing
the
TikTok
coolest
dances,
6-second
right,
Vine
okay.
about how you should go to the Gotham, Central Plaza and shoot everybody. Like, it was very much that very creepy dark web.
Right,
These people
okay.
have been obsessively following him in whatever channels they could, and yeah, whatever strange people that wanted to go buy like the leather bondage mask and
I love that they
Clear glasses.
Tactical mask.
yeah, I
okay?
know, I saw that part
available.
of
I
the
got
ad.
them. What I loved
Army
that they had those
supply
comments.
store,
Yes,
yeah,
I thought that was
I
great.
read all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
I read them too. Yeah.
I'd be suspicious that when 50 white dudes all come in
Yeah, I
with the same mask.
500.
Well, maybe
Five-
did
he-
they all make
he
it?
said- He
had
I
500
mean,
followers,
you know,
right.
they
They
might have
got
had
stuck in
plans,
traffic.
or they might have drowned in the water before
Maybe,
they got
maybe the Riddler made like a DIY video on how to make the Riddler costume.
Maybe like a little Etsy account.
Right.
Yes.
He was selling. Yeah.
He was selling them. That's
Um,
a good way
I-
to fund his project.
Exactly.
Needs money for something. I mean, he's in that rundown room. Well, he was a forensic accountant though.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Which
right.
I didn't catch
which
on
if
to
you're gonna
that.
have somebody doing your taxes,
That's how we figured out that the
Yeah, there
money was
was,
all being
Was all
Yeah.
that's how he knew in the
I
letter.
thought that was a clever twist.
Yeah.
I did love the scene where, and it ties back to the social media, where he's like, "Hey guys," like,
I loved that because that's
"Hey
you know
guys."
how I start every video. Hey guys, I was like, this is hilarious.
Well, let's talk a bit about the Riddler and the Batman's relationship, because they both seem to have different perspectives on the relationship. Tessa, do you want to start us off here and discuss about that?
Well, I just loved that scene. Super spoilery, but just I feel like I have to warn every time, you know. But that's just my, you know,
Right, you're used to
conditioning, right, exactly. But I did love the scene where they're having that conversation, and Batman thinks that he knows he's Bruce Wayne, and he's like going on and on and on about this, and you can tell he's kind of freaking out.
Yeah, he's like,
and he's like, this might be the end, and then he's like, you know, he's the one that got away,
Right,
and we were supposed to do this together, and then I think that's when it clicks for Batman, and that's what I like when he realizes, oh, I need to like not just be vengeance, right? And you get that at the end.
And it touches upon that at the end. It really like nails it home. Like,
yes,
you know, this is
I
Batman's
think
character
he needed
arc.
that relationship with the Riddler to like get it, and then it also when you know people being a little scared of him, like at the beginning, the one guy is being attacked by all these people. He beats the people up, has them leave, and then he's like, don't hurt me.
Right.
He's got to realize, like, oh wait, this victim is like afraid of me. This is maybe not a good,
Not a
good thing.
Yeah. The relationship I think was super well done. You know, because like I said, you know, there's kind of different perspectives. You know, the Riddler thinks, you know, that the Batman to him is like this almost idol, right? Where you know, the Riddler's they're partners in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, and the Riddler's mind, right? You know, you want to.
And the way Riddler manipulates it.
And
yeah.
I want to jump in here. I think like since the Nolan film started, like the Batman movies, maybe before that too, but definitely in the Nolan movies, the Batman movies started to be about like reflecting society at that time, too.
Right.
And it like the Matt Reeves stuff. Like his movie just seems like he's like what is that video game where you just the ball and you pick stuff up? Katamari.
yeah.
He seems like he's doing like Katamari Batman, where he's just kind of like picking up all the best stuff from like all the different things. So I'm glad that he didn't lose that reflection of society in this movie too, and like that whole Riddler connection, and you know like the radicalization of people and like the search for corruption, but then like that.
Of white men.
Oh, people are
Yes.
mad about that online.
Screw 'em. That's how it is in real life.
Exactly.
It was very much that same moment where the people in the streets who were idolizing the Joker for, you know, shooting Robert De Niro's character were all angry white men who wanted to revolt against society. And, you know, we get the early stages of people catching on to the Riddler where they have the question mark in the streets and they're all pushed against the barricades and, you know, questioning everything that they possibly can, you know, pushing against when they're going to the mayor's funeral. And that's like the first glimpse where people are fed up with whatever's going on, but they don't really know what they're fed up with, I guess, at that point.
Right.
What a perfect symbol, right?
You brought up the other day the guy being unmasked at the end. Was he at the mayor's funeral?
I don't know. I never Googled.
I think he's the guy.
is.
I think he's the because I'm watching the second time.
Yeah,
I looked. I tried to make
it
sure.
was so long in between
I'm
that I just forgot what he looked
Pretty
like.
sure it's
the same.
guy that was talking to him at the beginning,
Well,
kind of, yeah.
was
or
he-
beginning of
Yeah,
the funeral,
Yeah.
yeah.
Was that random guy? Was he in the film before? Because it almost seemed like they had not a connection, but like you know, like
Well-
he says, like, do I know you from, or you know, whatever he says. Like,
Oh yeah,
there's
yeah.
like
I don't.
the random guy that has like a moment of
Bruce
recognition.
Wayne, he's kind of famous.
Yeah,
Well, what I thought was
I think that was like a Bruce Wayne
Yeah.
reference because he didn't recognize him.
what
really.
I almost saw
Yeah.
for a moment was that it was one of the guys in like the white face paint at the beginning, and then maybe this random guy who was part of this white face paint gang or whatever recognized Bruce Wayne and was like, do I know you from somewhere? Have we met or whatever he says? And so that's kind of what I thought. And then that ties back into he also delivers the line "I'm vengeance" at the end,
Yeah.
and then that's when Batman, like you said, he has this moment of realization where he's like, "Oh crap, this is not what I was going for." And so that's kind of what I thought, because Batman at the beginning delivered that line to the guys in the white face, the white face paint or whatever. So that's kind of what I thought.
Took it to mean that this is something that this Batman has been saying and doing.
Yeah, right.
Like
Brought up a lot in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Time through, I'm like, oh, they said
Yeah.
vengeance
They
again.
call him
Selena-
vengeance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Selena calls him vengeance. And,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just kind of like his nom de guerre that he's going off of, and I kind of buttons it with the nobody at the end who also knows, that
Right,
it goes
right.
by vengeance.
I'm so glad that they brought up the problematic things about Batman, about being a billionaire, but just like brawling with people on the subway.
Yeah.
Like, is that really like the best way to make society better?
Right.
Because we're talking about like Batman fatigue, and like part of it is like that concept too. It's like, especially like contrasted with Marvel, it's like, oh, we made unlimited free energy for everybody. You can just have, and like, we can just move forward as a society now. And Batman's like, but I have a cool car. It's like,
He does have a cool.
but,
car.
but he does.
Very cool car.
He does,
will
but
admit,
I'm glad it was self-aware. I'm glad he started to become self-aware
Right.
about what he can do, because that allows us to move into like a place where like not that a Batman movie should be 100% serious and gritty and like, but in order for us to engage with try and follow it logically, you gotta, I'm not saying it needs to be 100% logical. Like it's definitely still fantasy and like kind of gothic and all that stuff, but like, I'm glad that they addressed it so that way you can be like, okay, they addressed this. Now I can enjoy this with my brain. My brain can stay on while I watch this movie.
Right. It's
And they do have comedy in there too.
Yes.
The thumb drive is like my favorite thing in the
Right.
whole world. I laughed the second time. I was like, this is still hilarious.
And then Gordon has a line in there too where doesn't he say he's like
He's like, oh,
guy-
this guy's
he's
got
a-
jokes or thinks
right,
he's funny or
yeah,
hilarious.
something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Yep.
Martin, you want to say something?
I think Alex.
Alex?
I was just gonna say, Alex, how many people do you think Batman killed in that car chase?
Oh, in the car chase.
Everyone made
killed.
it out.
Killed. I don't know. There's probably at least like 4 or 5 deaths, but like the number of maimed, that had to have been like a 30 or 40 car pileup.
I know.
And there was large explosions from fuel tankers.
Well, the thing is, like,
But he did get that sick shot of jumping through the flames.
Yeah.
that's what we want. Which it was a practical
that
effect.
Yep.
That was
Killer
not
car.
CGI.
Gave me legitimate chills when the car turns on in the alleyway. I was like, oh, that's a guttural
Yeah.
sound.
I have a question. That scene where it's the Batmobile's debut, right? Does it stall or does he go and stop and is like, come on, like let's go,
Oh,
buddy.
come
He's-
on, man.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
It-
on purpose.
Intimidation.
It's on
trying
purpose.
to-
They
You
would have
think
cut
so?
it if it stalled and
Yeah.
had him do it again.
Yeah.
What?
Like,
Robert.
they would have like,
He's up
we'll
driving.
just use
It
that
makes it
take.
cooler, if he's like, let's go, Penguin.
But they
come
showed him
on.
like working on the car, like doing mechanical stuff in the Batcave earlier on.
Right.
It'd be like, oh, so the subtext is he sucks as a mechanic. Like, it's like,
Oh, he definitely sucks as a mechanic because like that like giant turbo flame engine was just in shrapnel on the floor in the Batcave for what I assume is a very long time. They show a few shots of like the heads of the engine like just sitting on the floor. It's like, yeah, that's probably not good for any of that.
of course you would bring that up, right? Like
That's what he noticed.
One of the few shots they show of like the very first time he pulls in after going through like the long complicated corridor, which I thought was a cool thing that like the instead of going through the waterfall, he really uses the old access tunnels and like reroutes himself through all of these ways, so like nobody could really navigate that maze. And then they show that panning shot of the bats flying around and the computers and like some of his early technology, because this is where we find out that in the first half hour or so that he's really in the second year or so of his career trying to save Gotham. But yeah, no, I noticed all the dumb gadgets and stuff sitting around and like the pieces of the car laying around. I was like, okay.
and you're like, if you were really gonna do that, you wouldn't do any of that. Like you're a guy to tell us
Let's say
that.
realism, Aaron.
Well, realism with a wink.
Right.
Like we acknowledge we're trying to do a little bit of service to like realism, or at least addressing it. But I really liked how he was on the street as a human,
Yeah.
not as Batman.
With his big
In the
thing
crowd,
over him
yeah.
and his mask up and stuff.
He's
like
all
the,
about like big baggy clothes.
Yeah,
So it's-
well,
I-
because
I-
he's
I ju-
hiding his giant crazy suit under there, I imagine.
Oh yeah,
Or-
that makes sense.
Right?
That's
I would
that's the
imagine.
most
or He's
realistic.
going and changing.
Even though
Right. He just goes
Your
and
phone
does a
booth?
quick change. Right?
Yes, right.
A phone.
like the reconnaissance stuff where like he's on
Yeah.
the roof and he's wearing like
Yeah.
the ski mask and the black coat, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah, that was really stuff that the Bruce Wayne Batman would linger around in the early evening as he's trying to case something, whether it's a villain or a person of interest.
Yeah. I really like how this film finally acknowledges the black face paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Canon.
right. It's finally canon, and it makes sense. Like
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson, he pulls it off well, right?
He does. It helps that he's a very good-looking guy.
He's a bit of a hunk.
But the
I gotta admit.
director and writer also talked about how he used that to incorporate like Batman's sense of himself.
Sure.
Even though Bruce Wayne's mask may be off, he still has the red
He's
or
still-
the black.
So what do you mean? Like he even with the mask off, he
Yeah.
still like identifies
Because there is
himself
a
as this
scene
Batman
near
that
the
you are.
end, I think, when Bruce is going to Falcone or to Penguin.
He still
and-
got some
I think-
eyeliner
and he's
going
still
on.
got the
Yeah.
eyeliner on.
Yeah.
as
Oh,
you
is
see.
that
It's not
right?
as like
It's not-
it's not like all the way down to
profound,
here, but he's
he's
got
got some of it
got some
on.
guy liner going
Yep.
on.
And
yeah.
then in that scene, right, he puts on his Batman suit, right? Is
He
that-
does.
think-
It's the
yeah.
same
he
thing.
gets in.
Yep.
Yeah, because he
Right.
gets
Yeah.
in as like Bruce Wayne, but then he
Yeah.
goes and he cuts the power, and
They go do that thing, and I guess there's one moment that took me out right there. Like, now that you bring up when he cut the power, is him standing in front of a power panel with a grinder just. I was like, there's got to be a lever in there. Like, it's literally just a main panel where you literally just go in and you put the lever in. That's it.
he wanted to make sure they couldn't put it
Right,
back on after,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, most people don't really have the wherewithal to go in the panel room and go, but
There'd be one guy,
There would be one guy. That's true.
that was my moment, I guess. That took me out briefly. I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess. But to be fair, he did take like that, 1,000,000-volt shock in the end too. So
yeah, right.
Right. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
And then we get that hallway scene, which is like another one of the
Amazing.
great scenes. I love that.
I love at the end too when he's on the whatever in Gotham Central Square, whatever it's called, and he just takes one of the rifles and just
Madison Square
whacks
Garden,
it,
basically.
whacks the guy. I'm like, that's badass, you know.
The action was very fluid. I like that. Even if it was dark, we could see a silhouette of the
Yeah.
action that was happening. Which a lot of the Christian Bale fight scenes, you just hear like thunk thunk thunk, and you see limbs moving and people falling, but you're like, what's he doing in there?
Well, that was
Do you
probably on
mean like
purpose.
in Equilibrium?
Oh yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted you to talk about.
So Aaron and I both came to this realization as we were standing outside the movie theater that when he gets off the elevator and there's the gunfight scene in the dark, it's almost shot for shot like the gun kata fight in Equilibrium with Christian Bale. And I was like, did they make a nod to Equilibrium in that moment? Because it's too similar.
How could
to
they
just
not?
be like sheer coincidence? Because it's a very cool way to handle that type of fight scene. But like all I could think is, oh yeah, this brings me back to watching Equilibrium and Christian Bale like fighting in the dark with these crazy guns against all odds.
Sure, yeah.
I have
think
not seen that movie. So
I
I'll have
haven't
to watch
either.
it.
Oh,
It's
it's
very
great.
good,
It's great.
and it's one of Christian Bale's earlier movies, and it still holds up. Like it's very much in the same time frame as the original Matrix movie came out, so like you
Okay.
see parallels even there.
I'm excited to check it out.
It's one of those movies that kind of rises above its budget.
Oh,
Like-
absolutely.
Like you can tell they didn't have a bunch to work with, but they just executed at a really high level. I highly recommend it. It's like especially if you like sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, I
It's sci-fi
do.
action. Yeah, it's good. It's
Oh,
good.
We did dissenting
it out.
opinion. I didn't like it.
Well, it's all right.
You're like, I didn't like it, but I know what you mean
I
about
know
that
of it.
scene.
Yeah, I thought the acting was kind of blah. I mean,
There's a lot.
Well,
of
they're
fight.
all on emotion suppressants.
yeah, but like. Robert Pattinson suppressed his emotions for Batman. Didn't need a drug for that.
Well, we saw the most emotion out of him
Yeah.
than I think any Batman.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to
I
tie
think
it
so
back
too.
to-
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so emotive. as
Especially with
Batman.
with that scene with Alfred.
Yep,
Oh,
the
yeah.
hospital scene. Yeah.
The scene that I hate, but love. I would for some reason I'm just that was the part that I was like, this is kind of boring.
Oh, the
In the
That-
when they're in the
really?
hospital.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is a great
When
scene.
he-
it's well
it's
written,
very
well acted.
emotional.
For some reason, I'm not connecting with it because I'm messed up
That
with the movie.
that is
Right.
the scene where I got up and went to the bathroom. I'm like,
Oh,
okay, I can miss this scene. I'm
What
like,
were
I'm
the other
good.
4 scenes you got up in?
Right, I think I got up like 4 times in total. Like it's
He didn't even
3-hour movie.
Yeah.
So Batman's got ears, right? He's got super hearing. That's his deal, right, Lucas?
something like that. I don't know. But since we're kind of talking about you said equilibrium. What is it?
Equilibrium.
Well, since we're talking about inspirations for this film, let's we kind of talked about the comic inspirations, but let's talk more about film inspirations, which I think there are a ton. And Tessa, did you notice anything that stuck out to you where you're like, that's a parallel, that's a homage?
No, I try to
whatever?
not
You-
do that
you
with
try not to,
movies.
sure.
That's like kind of something. If I go down that road, especially with like my reviews, I try to not.
Right,
I try to
it's-
focus
sure,
on the
yeah.
movie. So I try to not do that.
Right.
So no,
I saw a lot of, and
I try to make a movie like be its own thing. you
right,
know what
I
mean?
agree.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything.
Together myself.
I don't think there's anything wrong with let's say like paying homage to a film, or because they would obviously Seven was a big inspiration. Matt
Yeah, oh
Reeves
yeah,
said
well
that.
yes, and then the name of the what
the
is it called? It's like a convenience store, or
Yeah.
whatever. Was Good Time, which is that,
Yes, I did notice that.
was
Yes,
like-
yes.
That's like a nice little Easter egg nod.
To nod to the Safdie brothers. You're right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I liked that.
I did
thought
notice
was
that.
nice.
At
least they didn't reference the lighthouse. That movie was awful.
I tried to watch The Lighthouse.
I'm shocked.
Exactly.
You don't like
the
it?
cinematography was cool.
Yeah, right. That's the
But
everything else is dumb.
the reason that I even gave it a try is like, oh, there's a monster in it, and I watched it. And it was like, okay, where's the monster?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
To
Right.
try
And I was
it
like, okay, I'm done.
with comics.
Yeah.
Show me the monster. I'm out.
I'm with you.
I've read The Lighthouse, the silent comic, and I was like, I've already flipped through The Lighthouse where there's a grotesque lighthouse keeper. Like, I don't need to watch the
What you
weird-
read is, I think, is better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is a black and white lighthouse movie.
Was it the Chabouté?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Chabouté,
there's a
and
comic
French
thing
band
that's
designated artist.
non-specific to DC property.
Tune in next week when Alex Dexter and I talk about all kinds of books you've never heard of, but we liked. Esoteric
Flip
cast.
through it page by page.
Show it up to the screen.
Hey, that's the only way to do it, Martin.
Clearly.
You want to talk about like inspiration
Yeah.
cinematically?
Did you notice anything that
For
stuck out
sure.
to you?
Like, I also watch a lot of interviews, but without even seeing those, you can just feel the atmosphere of this movie is so much like Zodiac and,
Yes.
and
And
Seven.
Great
they
movie.
definitely
Yeah.
the Riddler. I mean, they took
Yeah, a
I-
lot of cues from
the Zodiac Killer.
Zodiac
Even
Killer.
the chest pocket with the question mark, right? Because the other one was a,
Yes, he actually had like the question mark. Yeah.
anything
and the
else? Any
cipher.
other films that you were like, that's that's an homage or whatever?
I love that the director was referencing like Bullet and the French Connection a couple of times with like the
I
film
don't think
noir
I've seen either of those films.
from the
Connection's very good.
70s.
You got to different.
Yeah,
It's with
Gene
Gene
Hackman.
Hackman.
Was that one of Gene Hackman's first films?
Within the first couple years of him,
Gene
his
Hackman, who's Gene
career kinda
Hackman?
taking
Oh,
off, yeah.
You're off the
Gene
podcast,
Hackman.
Lucas.
I'm a cinema major and I don't know who Gene
Oh
Hackman
my
is.
god!
It ain't-
No,
I
He's
really
a pretty obscure actor.
Have
he,
you-
he doesn't have a big.
Have you
body
ever
for
watched Superman the movie?
yes.
Lex
They're
Luthor.
from the
Lex Luthor.
1978.
1970s.
Okay, all right, I know Gene Hackman.
Okay. Oh, thank God.
Sure, I know who Gene Hackman. Yeah,
Lucas
I
can
love
live
the
another
guy.
day on the podcast.
Big fan, yeah.
He's hanging by a thread there.
So what else? You didn't notice any other? You said film noir, right?
Yeah.
Chinatown
Yeah.
was a big inspiration.
Feel to it.
I think Martin's got some good things.
Yeah,
to
Martin,
say
what do you got
on
to
this.
say?
I like that it had that film noir feel to it.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
Thank you.
No,
for
I liked. There's a lot more mood to this one than a lot of the others, where it's just Gotham dark.
right.
And I think they did a really good job with the subtext of the city, the atmosphere that you're going for, and just some really just great moments where it's like, this could be an old detective movie.
yeah, yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
yeah. I liked.
Were there any Venetian blinds in this? Because I don't recall off the top
Oh,
of
I
my
don't remember
head.
seeing any.
I didn't see any.
Matt Reeves.
I will pay
when,
attention on my third viewing.
Matt Reeves, when you get in the next
Do an
one,
update.
we need some Venetian blinds in the next one, Matt.
I'm sure he's watching.
Venetian.
He's one of
Somebody
the
will tag
three.
him.
Yeah, he's one of the 3 viewers right now. So that-
But
He was the new one.
but those horizontal lined Venetian blinds
sure.
are a staple of those old noir
Right,
old
yeah,
noir
yeah,
films.
no, I
Well,
know
maybe
what
in
you're
the
talking about.
second movie they'll focus on curtains instead of just destroying floors.
I wonder maybe it was in Riddler's apartment.
Don't sleep
where
on
they
that
had those
comment. It's a
blinds.
good one. What's up?
Maybe it was in Riddler's apartment where they had those blinds you're talking
I need
about.
I mean,
Riddler.
it was,
No, we need
they
these.
were up if they were, because you could just
Right,
see right
yeah, I
out
guess
the
that's
window.
true.
They might have been there.
We don't know. Maybe in the
What-
sequel. We'll find
What is that vendetta against the floors? Like
Batman hates
Batman
floors.
hates floors.
Yeah.
Destroyed everyone.
Well,
Painted
we're all
on
like,
them,
why
ripping
didn't
them
he
up.
get paper and write it out?
Why
Write
do
it
you
down.
get a nice- Why do you get a nice fancy electronic murder board?
Right.
Like they have,
You got
He's just
all
gonna
kinds of-
spray
every-
paint
like,
all over his
Hawaii
floor.
5-0 or something.
Well, I guess when you got that much floor, you can do whatever you want.
It's just like
True.
Alfred
I
will
feel like
repaint.
those are very like antique, like expensive floors.
what does he care? He's a
What did
billionaire.
you say? When
I said Alfred will repaint as soon as he gets out of the hospital. Yeah.
He's a butler that can't answer a phone.
Can we talk about the like fact that a lot of stuff is like blurry at times and stuff? Because Martin and I had that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
To pay off at some
It's,
point.
But it
I-
worked. Though.
I imagine-
wasn't mad
I'm
at
sorry.
it. No, I just wasn't mad at it though.
I
Yeah.
just thought there was like gonna be some weird payoff that happened where it's like.
Yeah, Martin's like, why are they blurring it?
Sometimes
Well-
you just smear Vaseline on the lens and go for it. You know.
I noticed those scenes where when Riddler was in them, so I imagine it was probably so they
Did
could get
you-
that PG-13, right? Because I mean, you can blur stuff in post, right? So maybe they
Yeah.
filmed it not blurry, and then they're like, "This probably isn't gonna. This is gonna be like rated R."
Fair.
And,
Yeah,
and
it might have been an
Weird stuff where it would
afterthought.
be like just to focus on like Batman and everything behind him is like super blurry, which I did
Right.
like. The
yeah,
one where he's hanging there towards the end. and
sure, yeah.
All the water's going on, but it's like kind of blurry, but then it gets more in focus. I don't know. It was just all these like crazy, weird
I-
cinematography
yeah,
decisions that I loved, and I was like,
Yeah.
sure, this works.
I'm sure I'm sure there's a reason behind it.
Isn't it
Well,
the same cinematographer as Dune?
It is,
Yes,
yep,
it
yep.
is.
Greg
Yep.
Fraser.
Great movie. I liked it.
Which, yeah.
Yep.
You haven't seen it.
You didn't see Dune?
No,
Sorry,
I got yelled at for not saying
we
that.
talked about it.
You can stream it, Martin.
That's
don't-
what I told.
I don't think you can now. I think the
You
window.
can't. You
It
could
can't be
have
window
for
closed.
like
You could
30
have.
days, but,
Missed
that
your
wasn't
window.
enough time
That-
for
that
us.
was-
See it with somebody, and then that didn't happen, and then it was like, oh, we'll do it again, and then it was too late.
Well, anyway, we're talking about Batman, not Dune.
Yeah.
So I apologize, but beautiful, both
Sorry,
beautiful
Ron.
Both
films.
beautiful films.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
different.
same DP.
Yeah, very different.
Same DP, yeah,
Yeah.
but different, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think I said this earlier.
Conversation passed.
But I love the use of red because I think recently in the Warner Brothers animated movies they switched over to that new red logo at the front of the movies.
Right.
So I like that it's not like the Batman changed their whole identity to be red to match up with that, but I just like you graphic designer here. So like I just like when the identity of like the house and like the film that they do is synchronous. Like the designer talked to like the main house and they're like it'd be cool if you could do red, and they're like, well, okay, yeah, and then they do
They
it, and
change
it's
contacts.
beautiful, yeah. And they actually communicate, and I just assume that. I don't know if that happened for sure, but I just assumed that a designer and all the creative people spoke to each other, and they did something that made me, as someone who appreciates good design, go, someone communicated, and it looks good.
Well, I was saying too before. I forget, was I talking to Alex? But Matt Reeves sent a thing to cinemas saying like, "Hey, like this is the settings we want your stuff on for this movie, and like make sure you're capable of these settings," which I think has a lot to do with.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine if the color like didn't work? If it was off, it would have been. There would have been some misses. Yeah.
Like huge risk of like the darks being too dark to communicate anything of what's going on. Like
Yeah.
If you had gone to a theater that had lower res stuff, you could have had a ruined experience very easily.
Sure, yeah. I mean, tonally, it's a dark and
Yeah.
Visually.
it's visually dark too.
Yeah. The first time we see Batman, he's coming out of the shadows. You can make out his outline at the perfect
Is that right?
It's synchronized with the score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Oh my
score.
God.
Yeah.
The score is
my God.
fantastic.
Oh yeah,
That's
Here
a
we
whole
go.
nother conversation. I mean, the
Well,
We got
entire
time.
thing.
We got time.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I
you're a
just
big
love
music
the
guy.
score, like from beginning to end. I mean, it helps every single situation and intensify it and add suspense. Like it's perfect, absolutely perfect.
Ava Maria.
Perfect. What's going on?
Ava Maria, the piano.
Yeah. Oh, and the singing. Can we
Yeah.
talk about the singing?
Oh yeah.
Martin's like, I hope he doesn't sing. I don't want him to sing. And then he sings, and you're like, okay, it was okay. Actually, it
Well,
worked.
I'm like, oh, right, a false sense of security is I'm like, oh, okay, he's not singing great. And then he starts. I'm like, okay, here we go.
But it worked.
Why did you not want him to
You
sing?
liked how they simplified it down.
They
to
broke
the-
down because
Yeah.
the like all the kind of big orchestral Batman things kind of have like that same kind of descending like note, and they just broke it down to just the piano notes. It was like a reverse Jaws, kind of like the dun dun dun.
Right.
And I was like, that's perfect. It's like a more classically theatrical Terminator type thing, which speaking of films that they may have
Oh, yeah,
referenced,
yeah.
I think Terminator might be something that they had in mind. For
In which
certain things.
way?
That Batman's a guy, but like he's gonna take all kinds of damage. He's gonna get you. Like,
For sure.
you're not getting away.
You're not
Sorry.
getting away.
The
He's
moment
coming.
where he jumps off the building in the wingsuit and then clips the railroad bridge,
Yeah.
like, oh no, that
Yeah.
is he really gonna
Yes.
get up and oh yeah, he's gonna try.
he's gonna stand up.
Oh, he's gonna try. Wander into the alleyway and try not to die.
I'm glad we saw that proto thing instead of him just being up there with like the Batman umbrella wings and just soars away.
Right. I like how when he's it's Gotham PD that he's escaping from, and when he gets up to the top, spoiler alert, and he looks out, he's like, oh shit, he's like,
Yeah, he stops for a
and
second.
I think it must have been his first time doing it.
It
at
seemed
least.
like he's just kind of like, all right, let's just go.
He's like,
let's
I have no
try
other
it."
option. Let's do it.
And he messes up, and I love that.
Yes,
Like, he
yes.
clearly
he's
didn't
inexperienced.
do it at the right time.
We do get a Batman gargoyle moment at that point.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
we get the classic shot of Batman perched on top, although he's quickly hurried off by a bunch of cops trying to shoot him. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers an hour in.
And then have any of you played the Arkham games?
I love the Arkham games.
Did like so much, especially that scene towards the end, just remind you of like stringing people up. I mean, yes, they were
Right.
all on their things so they don't fall themselves, which I thought was weird. But
I really want them to do, and I don't think they will, at least in this version, because it's more grounded, realistic, whatever. I really would love to see the Arkham City, where they instead of putting them in Arkham Asylum, like something happens
Yeah.
to Arkham Asylum, they throw them in this abandoned part of the city, like this bad part, and then just build a wall around it and lock the criminals up. And I think that'd be awesome to
to
see.
No
I don't
Man's
think
Land.
that's something we will see.
no, but that would be
Like,
awesome.
there's a whole book about it. It's called No Man's Land. It's right
Yeah,
here.
that's
in front of us.
that's a little different, right? Because
No,
It says it does
No,
say
but-
No Man's Martin, but like,
but they throw in Arkham City, they throw the villains in there in the city on purpose to that's like their new prison, and that they don't do that though.
They may have.
I mean,
It's
they
a
don't-
flood
They
that
don't
causes
do.
it.
They don't do that in the regard that, like, during No Man's Land, they're all just roaming the streets and have claimed very specific parts of the town for themselves because they broke out of Arkham and Blackgate.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about let's
He's like, I was wrong. We're moving on.
okay, whatever.
Let's talk about the water supply. It's always the
always
water
the
supply
water
in
supply.
Batman,
I
right?
get, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So they poison the water
Right.
supply, and then you now we,
With
Microwave it.
sewage.
in Batman Begins.
Kids like
Yep,
months
yep.
ago having like a water-based plot that they just spoiled each
and
other 'cause
and
they
even though there's an
realized
atomic
it's
bomb
not
in Batman or the Dark Knight
Knight
Rises, they
Rises.
had the water flood the
Yeah.
the basin there. Always the water with the Batman.
He loves his water.
Is this the wettest Batman?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's always raining.
Clarify that.
Always raining.
There was that-
Yeah.
Batman and Robin. I think that
Okay.
I mean, did you see
There's a lot of
Catwoman?
Batman,
She was a nice lady.
What
Catwoman was a nice
do we
lady.
think about the treatment of Batman's parents in the movie?
That's something I see being kind of controversial because it almost looks like it makes them out to be kind of dumb. Where it's like Thomas Wayne went to Falcone not knowing that he's gonna. If Thomas Wayne tells Falcone about this guy that's causing him trouble, Falcone's not gonna turn around and kill him. Like it makes him out. It makes him look kind of stupid. Right?
I think that's just him being hopeful.
I agree.
And also, Falcone did manipulate the situation.
Oh, very clearly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that they did that because they humanized Martha and Thomas Wayne because they've been just like these angel figures in like
Sure,
all other
sure.
media before this. And certainly like they had their intentions were good, but I love that Martha Wayne had mental
Yeah.
health issues because now it's like okay, so
she-
we see where all this is coming from for the
Right,
Batman.
yeah. Kinda
Now,
gives an explanation.
now there's this hereditary thing, and in real life, it's that wink to here's some realism.
Yeah.
You know,
And
Yep.
And there's one of those fun things that, like, not a lot of people, if you don't read a lot of Batman, they're like, that's covered in different story arcs. Maybe
Yeah.
not always in the main one, but like
I think
Thomas
Earth
and
One,
Martha are
right?
often, once you delve into that real backstory, they're not painted as like these saintly figures. Like they were obviously important in the community, but
Yeah.
like she is an Arkham, and they really were the ones that founded the asylum, in part because of her and some other goings on. And I'm sure John's read an amount of Batman where like you see those moments where the Waynes aren't these fantastical people, and they do try to hide some of their, more grounded with the rest of the society around them moments, only to be, held back up to a standard that, you have to build, the railway system in Wayne Tower and everything else to cover for all of your wrongdoings, including like there's moments like Hush and the city, or what is it? The Court of Owls.
Court of Owls.
Yeah.
It was
like
a
that
Earth
lays
One,
pretty
right,
heavily
too, right?
on some of those like background Wayne characters that are, otherwise unknown.
You think those are coming with the Batman
man.
too?
I was about to say, yeah.
So there was
Yeah.
the moment when the city floods. I was like, this is it. This is our moment
Yeah.
where we could get a no man's land. And then they kind of tidy it up in the end. It's like,
A little bit. They say they're coming to help, but it doesn't mean they're going to be able to
and
accomplish.
And that's where I'm kind of hopeful. is
Yeah.
that maybe the next movie picks up
Right there.
somewhere
That's-
right
yeah.
afterwards, and we don't see that big time jump where it goes to year 3 or like a further time jump where maybe he's a little more established.
Yeah, well, because they even say like, oh, people are going to be rising and trying to claim the power as they show Penguin. So
Right.
I really think we could. I hope so. I'm very hopeful for that.
Well, speaking of the future, what are some villains going forward that we would love to see? We talked about Joker, right?
I love Joker.
What?
I love Joker.
Yeah, I'm excited. Do you think they'll do him that story in the next one?
I hope
Sounds shady.
he's somewhat involved.
I think he will be. I think
You can't just introduce him. He's got to at least be in there a little bit next time.
Sure.
Because that would be really weird to be like, here's Joker, and then we're not going to talk about him for an entire movie.
It might be nice to see him kind of playing in the background.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not to be like this.
Not the-
Because we are getting a lot of
and
a
then to
center
build up
Joker.
whatever it
Yeah.
is that he started with Riddler in that cell. So.
To crescendo with Joker instead of like walk into Joker and be like, okay, now we have a third one to do.
Right. He'll be in it. I don't
Yeah.
think he'll be a main.
Did you? I don't know if Lucas told me this, but there was a rumor that there was going to be a Hannibal Lecter, like Clarice Starling kind of moment with Joker in this film.
Yeah.
Where he would consult with Joker on a case.
There was supposed to be, and then they cut it.
Yes, it was going to be ripped from Alan Moore's The Killing Joke, where the Joker's playing, solid. What is it?
That would be a cool dynamic.
What's that
to
called?
see
Solitaire?
that.
Solitaire, right? And then the Batman comes in and they kind of have a conversation.
It was supposed. I don't know if they ever filmed it,
They might have.
but I know it was
Director said
cut.
they
But I think
filmed
they
it,
did film
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Matt Reeves has-
I don't know if it was like a final film. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Probably not.
Matt Reeves has said that there's a 4-hour edit of this film.
Oh boy, we don't need no.
Which,
I'm so sick of like director cuts. Like, can we
yeah,
not?
it kind of, it
Keep
gets
it tight.
messy. It gets messy because then it's like, was this, part of the continuity, right, in the next film, right? It's just,
Right. Well, exactly.
yeah. There's a reason why
Exactly.
they cut it,
Right. Exactly. Yes. There's a reason you cut it.
Yeah.
2 characters that I could easily see them bring in without any change whatsoever are Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
Because the Gotham DA is now dead, and Pamela Isley.
Yeah.
Because of whether people really feel one way or the other about it or not. We kind of talked about it in front of the theater the other night. When he injects himself in the leg with the green, is it Venom?
I mean, it's pretty green.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little too green to be adrenaline, I think.
Real angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I was talking about that with my husband after, and he's like, I think maybe it was just adrenaline. I'm like, I think maybe it's a little green to be adrenaline. I don't know.
It's a very specific call out.
It's at least it's a nod. If anything,
It's a
Yeah.
wink. And
it's a
nod,
wing. Yeah,
right.
yeah, exactly.
Matt
But
Reeves.
again, my husband didn't like the car chase scene, so he's wrong.
Oh my goodness.
I
could
hope
watch
he's
it.
watching right now.
He's contrarian about everything. It's like if you like it, he hates it.
I think that's the point.
I love it.
He goes, when it ended, he goes, I hope that's not the car scene everyone's talking about because that was awful. And then I told Martin that. Martin goes, well, he's awful. I know. He's like,
I'm
it looks
shocked
like
by
it was that he got stuck in traffic all the time. Why? And I'm
Well, I
like,
kind of
"What?"
like that. Like
I know.
Like there would in real life there would be traffic, and he would have to kind of
Kill people.
I think it was definitely Penguin who caused the whole car
You do
pile
get a
up,
little
right?
bit of the car chase nonsense and shenanigans from The Dark Knight, though, where you get that moment where they're in the tunnel and people are definitely dying. Like, they're
Oh,
shooting
yeah.
a rocket launcher in a tunnel. Like,
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a-
people are dead.
He compared it to that, and he's like, well, that scene is way better. And I'm like, okay. I
I'm
mean,
Strongest
totally
reason.
into the car chase with the ridiculous, more grounded in reality car as opposed to the super tank driving through the streets in the Joker opens a box truck with a rocket launcher. Great scene, but, different feel.
You want to talk one of the cinematic things about the car chase scene is that the camera angles are always Batman's angle is always forward. His camera is always mounted somewhere on the Batmobile, and
Interesting.
Penguin's angle is always behind him or in the rearview mirror. So you're looking at Penguin's point of view.
Interesting.
So
I didn't notice
that
I didn't
scene
pick up on
is-
that.
is
I didn't pick up on that.
Pretty heady.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to see it for a second time. I haven't seen it for a
Should have
second
Sunday.
time, but I know.
A third viewing.
Do we want to talk about what age this is good for? Because I brought my
Yeah.
9 and 10
I
year
can't
old.
believe you went back on
I-
that.
I know.
How'd that go?
Martin and I, we went in and I said, okay, you need to help me. You guys know the girls very well. They come in a lot and said,
They're more
we
mature
gotta,
than us.
right, exactly. I said, we got to figure out if it's okay for them. Because they see a lot of PG-13 stuff, but it's Batman. It's not Marvel, right? You
Right,
know,
it
there's
can-
a difference.
it's
There's a
gray,
difference
right,
between
yeah.
it. And there was the point with the voicemail.
Wait, let's go back to the very first
Oh.
bludgeoning where you.
Yeah, the bludgeoning. We
Right
went,
off the
oh,
bat.
but then it
Yeah.
moved away from it.
And
So
she
we
goes,
were like,
"Oh, it's gonna move on, so they can get over this.
it's true, it's true.
Why we're doing this.
But then the voicemail, you hear the
screaming.
It's when you hear
Yeah.
like the strangling a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I don't know. But then the girls are begging me. So I tell my husband a little bit about, and I'm like, I don't really want to get into like spoiler, but like you hear someone being like strangled.
yeah.
It's like a little intense. And he's like, that's fine. And I'm like, all right, fine. So we take the girls. They loved it. Lori's
good
only
time,
thing
good.
was it got a little slow at times and a little boring, she said, for her, which she's 9.
She needed more
Yeah.
strength.
My 10-year-old
Or strangling.
I loved it. And then we go, did you like when he took his shirt off? And she's like, no, that was gross.
I like that part.
But she
I'll
also
be honest.
like cheered every time they kissed. Like
That was my second favorite part. Of the
right,
film,
I
you know?
know.
I
But she
know.
loved she's into the romance now. So
Okay.
Catwoman and Batman were she wasn't happy that they veered
They-
off, which I
well,
loved that.
Me too.
I thought that
Yeah.
was great.
That's
Well-
a good point to end on, I think.
Yeah,
It
no.
was
It's
perfect.
every disappointing moment that Selena Kyle and Batman/Bruce Wayne ever have. You're like,
Yeah.
are they gonna get to? Nope, they're not. Nope, it's just not gonna work out this time. He's not gonna take his mask off either, so she doesn't even know.
Yeah, I know. Well, I like that when she says, you're spoken for. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
It
But
really
it's
is a
sad,
love
but I love it.
triangle.
It is with
Yeah.
Gotham.
Yep.
Or when she like asks him why he's wearing the mask, and she's like, "Oh, you're horribly scarred," and he's like, "Yeah,"
Yeah.
which is
On
like,
the inside.
yeah. I also loved her mask too. Like,
Yeah.
I like the little kitty ears.
see, like as somebody who like, wears clothes and has to live in them, I'm always thinking about like,
Yes, you do.
everybody has to wear clothes and live in them.
Practical.
Yeah, be practical, but also have like a little wink and a nod to the look of it, and like that was very livable, right? And she could see pretty good out of that, I bet.
It makes sense for this Catwoman to have that costume.
And it will
and
it will
Played
evolve.
heavily on the actual like cat burglar aspect, where
Yeah.
it makes
Right, which
sense
I
that
love.
she's in
She has a thin strip right here.
Yeah,
Really
and-
concealed.
But I liked it-
In
Right,
Batman,
it's
you can
fine,
see
it's
his
great.
perfectly chiseled
It's-
bat jaw every time that nobody can ever recognize that Batman is definitely
He does
Bruce Wayne.
contouring, actually.
Yeah,
so-
okay.
Yeah, he's very pro makeup. This Batman.
I like her cat carrier on her motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh
right.
yeah.
The cat's in the back.
Well, that's like we're watching it, and Brett's like, "That cat would be gone." They're having this conversation. That cat is already
Locked away.
out.
Wait,
That cat is
so
not
in the movie-
happy.
In the movie, I turned to you. They didn't close the refrigerator.
Yeah,
They
that's
just
kind
left
of-
that refrigerator
Yeah.
open the entire scene.
I did like that she's drinking milk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And enter Mr. Freeze.
he was in the freezer. He was hiding.
That
Ryan.
He sees you wasting that energy on that
Q
refrigerator,
is about.
and like
We got it. I figured it out.
Well, Matt Reeves has said that's Mr. Freeze is something he'd want to explore.
he needs to
Right.
be redeemed.
Yeah.
Like the animated series version of Mr. Freeze is like maybe one of my favorite characters that's ever been done in like a
The
cartoon.
Heart of Ice or
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like you just feel for Mr. Freeze, even though he's not a good dude, but just does he say that?
Oh, that's
That's Arnold.
yeah, it's Arnold.
Everybody,
Bad
chill.
Arnold. I don't know how you do a Victor Freeze in this.
You do it in Gotham.
Uh,
You do it in Gotham GCPD. You do it Gotham Central style. You introduce them there, and then you build to the
because
movie.
I-
Read Gotham Central.
They won't do that.
But I watched some of the episodes of that Gotham TV show.
That's
and
different, though.
Yeah,
That's different.
You tell me that it's different now, and then I'll watch it and go,
Listen,
"Oh wow, they just rehashed
the production
show.
design- What did they
rehash it? See, that's what the problem with Gotham was. It's like here's young Jim Gordon and the police force, and they're like, oh, they're gonna do Gotham Central? No, they did not.
Yeah, and then
They're like,
just,
we're gonna kind of do everything, but not really do anything.
Here's some
That's actually a
time-shifted
really
criminals.
good way to describe it.
These criminals aren't scarred mentally or physically yet, but here they are. I don't want that. Even if
that's
if I
not-
go
that's-
read Gotham Central and it's phenomenal, I feel like it'll probably be
Aaron, it's okay.
poorly translated into a TV show because over and over again you get this weird amount of budget and then they just like
Make Matt Reeves a producer, then it'll be all right.
Oh, you're 100%.
Just make him a
be
producer.
involved. I mean, this is like his
We
universe.
should hedge a comic shop bet that if this, like, we can talk about
So I-
this towards the end. That I'll put like $5 down that this show is totally bunk.
I'll take that bet.
I think
100%.
with the major investment they've made in the Batman universe, I don't think they're gonna flub anything from this point
Well,
No,
you
forward.
know,
they
it
won't.
is still DC, and some of the things that have come out before this, and probably that will be coming out after this, as I watched the pre-trailer, where they just like, hey guys, so here's like 5 movies that are coming out. Hopefully, you paid attention to any amount of this.
Right.
Blue
Yeah.
Beetle's like a split second.
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah,
they did release it online, so if you want to go and watch it in depth,
maybe I
you
will.
can
I
do
probably
that.
won't, realistically.
we're getting 3 Batmans this year, right? We got Michael Keaton coming up in The Flash, and Ben Affleck, his final appearance, if you will,
And Super Pets.
and Keanu Reeves, right?
Forget that.
I can't forget that. That
When is
honestly,
It-
Super Pets.
It does look.
It does look
They
good.
showed
Like,
the trailer before.
if it's like on HBO Max, I'll watch it.
Is this a live action Super
No,
Pets?
No,
A cartoon?
It is
It's like a cartoon.
animated, and
just-
Keanu Reeves
he
is
blocked it
Batman.
out.
Yeah. And
Oh, okay.
gosh, who's Superman? I
It's
was gonna say
John
Dwayne.
Krasinski?
Yes,
Is
it
it?
is John.
it is
yeah.
John Krasinski. Yes.
And then
Superman?
The Rock is the Superman's
Crypto.
dog,
Dog Crypto.
whatever. Yeah.
Interesting casting.
Kevin Hart's in
Kevin
it.
Hart is.
He's I think he's
He's
Batman's
Batman's
dog.
dog.
The Bat Hound.
Oh, Ace.
I'd honestly watch it.
They've released the Batman trailer today online, like the Batman version, which came before the Batman. You should watch it. Just watch the trailer.
Before this, did we know that Keanu Reeves was?
No, they
it was,
didn't
it was
say who was. So,
He nails it.
John
so there's
I watched
clickbait everywhere, you know,
Right.
recasting of Batman.
Right.
Keanu Reeves.
This is a Batman who lives on the West Coast.
Which one?
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu
Batman.
Reeves one?
I don't know. He seemed pretty
He's out
dark.
there
He
surfing.
did seem pretty dark.
Oh, yeah?
Him and Bathound have this whole conversation
If
about their lives
Robin
being
is
so
not played
similar.
by
I love it too because they
It's so good.
they kind of break the fourth wall, which
They do, yeah.
which I think with like the Lego Batman movie, which I love too. I think that's a great animated DC film.
It is.
I think they kind of break the fourth wall there, where like in the Super Pets they reference Morgan Freeman,
Yeah.
and Batman's like whoever Morgan Freeman
wasn't.
played. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm like, and I try to remember his name. I'm like, I can't remember the character's name, but it is Lucius Fox.
Lucius Fox. Yeah.
Yes.
Just close to Lucas. I can't remember that.
Luscious Fox.
But let's
That beautiful fur.
let's talk about like
Luscious Foxy Brown in the next Batman.
With Pam Grier.
Derailing it.
Yeah, we are.
we're talking about Super Pets. I'm excited for it. Can't
It
wait.
looks
we
good.
brought
does
up the
look good.
cartoon one, and my brain just went to Teen Titans Go and was like, I don't know, you guys are talking about
Teen
some
Titans
real
Go was
weird
good.
No, it wasn't.
Teen Titans.
Nope.
I like the
Go
Teen
to the
Titans.
movies was very fun.
It was.
I didn't like the last line of the movie, but that's
Yes.
yeah. Because I was watching it with my
I
children,
imagine.
and I was like, "Please go over your heads," and it did. Anyways,
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. That was a.
We've lost control here.
All
yeah.
right.
Let's go back. We'll do 1 or 2 more Batman things, then I think we'll.
Well, let's talk about the future of this universe going forward. You know, we talked a bit about the villains we want to see, but do we want to see more of an extended universe off this? Like, do we want this to be the Iron Man of the
No.
DC movies going
I'd
forward?
rather see them do more one-off projects where
Right.
you take these great books that they have, they can adapt quite well, and not worry about this interconnected continuity.
I agree.
DC's
Everyone
not good
knows
at it.
Batman, everyone
DC
knows these
sucks.
characters, just let-
DC sucks at that.
let the
That's-
creators
They're
do
kind of good
stuff
at.
with
They're good at making like artsy, you know, one-off films like you're talking about. but-
Exactly. That's why they need to stick with what they're good at.
Give me a Batman Hush. Like,
Yes.
And I, yeah.
just go right ahead. Dive right into the deep end.
Oh, that just reminded me of we get name dropped Elliot,
Right,
Edward Elliot, who I would presume is Thomas Elliot's
And the
father.
word hush on the screen.
And the word
Right
hush
with
on the
them,
screen.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of.
I
So
didn't
they're
notice that.
setting him up hard.
Isn't that story like I haven't read the story, but isn't it some guy like kills a bunch of people and takes part of the face and puts it on his to look like? Is
no.
it that's from the video games?
Maybe.
That's
If it
yeah.
is,
But also
they-
Riddler's
they
involved,
ruined that
too.
character.
Yeah, heavily.
Yeah, they might.
So.
Yep. So I think that's
Could be
a strong
something leading up to
contender.
it naturally.
I hope so. That's
That-
what we
our
talked about
first
when we left.
Cinematic Huss.
Once you see Hush on the screen, I was like,
Yeah.
I'll have to read Hush because
Oh,
in
yeah.
in the Arkham game, it's like a side quest or whatever where you track down this killer, and he's banned. He's got the whole whatever the bandage looking like a mummy.
It kind of goes back to what I had brought up before in some of these other Batman books, where he's this sort of background character in Bruce's life that Bruce doesn't know about, and that's why he's such a prolific character and such a just absolutely mind-bending villainous character. Is that he appears out of nowhere. He's not really ever in the rogues gallery until later on. Like once he appears once, they're like, "Oh no, people love this. Let's just do this again."
it's good. Read it.
I mean, we don't have it at the store, unfortunately. We'll have to order some. And
If you'd like to borrow it, I
Evan.
have it on the shelf.
I know, Evan, you're slacking over here, man.
The animated's also good too.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
It was one of the better ones. That's what DC's good at. The
Yeah.
Well,
animated.
that's the
movies.
thing. Yeah. And they're good at don't connect things.
Yeah.
Just have your
The
own
Harley Quinn
thing.
show. Is
Especially in the
phenomenal.
animated version of Hush,
That's
there's
so
like that
Can't wait.
panning shot of the city burning. And it's like, okay, yep. And that's what we often miss in some of these bigger villain stories is in the comics, it devolves into Gotham City is literally burning in utter chaos. They sort of neatly tighten it up in the movies where like they don't want to leave it that Batman didn't solve it.
Yeah. right.
There was some set photos leaked, and it's not in the film, so I guess it's not technically continuity, right? But of Superman and Wonder Woman, people dressed up as Superman and Wonder Woman on Halloween night. I imagine it was probably in that opening sequence,
With all the
right? In like Gotham's Times Square or whatever. So I mean, maybe we'll see them going forward. I don't know. I mean,
no, thank you.
I honestly I don't think I'd want it. I want.
Keep them separate.
I'm fine with like the HBO Max shows, right? With like they said they're maybe doing a Catwoman. I hope they do the Gotham PD. I don't know if they will. I know you're against it, Alex.
$5 down that it's
Listen, I will
just
take that bet.
mediocrely reviewed.
I will take that bet. And then there was another show too.
I'll review it positively if you give me a cut. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I got you. Don't worry. I got you.
Yes. That was a joke. I take my job very seriously.
Yeah.
Listen,
$5, you're gonna get a positive review with anybody.
no. Let's not put that out there.
We'll have to cut this part from the YouTube video.
What's your price?
Yes,
What's
I know.
Yeah. Spoilers, Evan. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Please. But what
Do we have any final thoughts?
should we do? Like a one-word, thing?
Oh my god! I already did one word.
I was really one of my
Just
favorite
kidding,
parts
just
was
kidding.
towards the end. Spoilers, where Batman
Spoilers.
swoops down into the water, lights his little flare, and goes and rescues the rich and elite people of the city. while
Spoilers,
everyone
by
else
the way.
drowns. I thought that was wonderful and very poignant, and
Because all the regular citizens are dead.
I think
Yeah,
we've
they're
covered that.
already
They're all
gone.
dead.
Well, somebody had to pay to get the movie made, Martin.
that is true.
Right,
It's
yeah.
the mayor and the poor former mayor's kid who just had to look at Batman or Commissioner Gordon or everybody through the movie. He was very good, just looking.
He discovered his dad dead. Give him some
I know.
some
I mean, come on,
credit
that's
here.
pretty
Well, and
traumatizing.
that's where my closing thought is. Like their way around doing the origin story was the humanizing moment over and over again that Bruce sees the mayor's son and constantly sees himself reflected in that. That he had to bear witness to his father's murder, and you can tell that Bruce relives that every time. Like even the first time he sees him at the funeral again, and then again in the end of the movie when he saves him, it's just that okay, you get a little bit of that redemption that he does get to save the kid.
Yeah,
And you don't have to
sometimes,
deal with an
yeah.
origin. Exactly.
Well, since we're doing closing arguments, whatever,
Closing arguments.
That's just those two from Gotham.
why don't we do
Objection.
if you guys want to like plug anything, shout anything out. Go ahead.
The Department of
'Cause-
Public Works.
Beautiful.
You guys aren't even clowns.
All right, that's it. The stream's done with you guys. John, what do you got? Closing arguments and
Closing thoughts.
arguments, and you can plug your book a
Batman.
bit more there.
I loved it. I've seen it twice so far. I'm thinking about a third time. I don't know how much time in my life I want to commit, but it's taken a lot of real estate upstairs
yeah.
since I've seen it. It's super dark, and it's probably not for everybody. And definitely,
I agree, yeah.
Use your parental judgment.
If I saw this film as like an 8-year-old, I
Yeah.
saw The Dark Knight in
Yeah.
theaters when I was 8.
Oh my god.
The Riddler would.
I was horrified. I was horrified.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
he was an
sorry.
embryo for that movie.
Horrified of the first, because people were telling me before, I was I'm a huge Batman fan, and they were like, you may want to wait, wait a year or two, grow up a bit. And I'm like, no, I got to see this movie. And the first scene with the bank,
Fairly early in the movie.
the first scene with the bank, and he takes off his mask. I'm like, this is too much. I can't do this. But
Well, I think we all felt that way, and we weren't 8 years old.
Jack Lee's son had, I think, a similar reaction. I got to ask him about that next time.
Kickstarter.
yes,
Kickstarter is still up. If you search My Pocket of Fears on Kickstarter, you'll see the campaign. I'll be posting updates to it within the next 2 weeks.
Awesome.
Hopefully, the books are in by the end of March. That would be awesome.
all right, Mama's Geeky, what do we got?
Yeah. Obviously, some kids are okay. 9 and 10-year-olds can handle it better than I don't know how they would have done with that, but so kids can't. Some kids, it's okay for some kids. Again, parents know their own kids.
If I saw this
know-
when I was 8, I would have been
You're trying
terrified.
to justify
Especially the scene where
Yeah, I did. Well, listen, I said no, and I got
bribery.
You got
coerced into.
a laundry list here.
But I loved the movie. I've seen it twice now, and I don't think I'll go back to theaters to see it again, just because it's 3 hours long,
Sure.
and I have so many other things that I have to do. But I can't wait for it to come out. I'm gonna watch it again immediately once it comes to HBO Max, and then I'll probably purchase it on Blu-ray as well, probably in 4K, because it's just so good. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, dark, gritty. It's Gotham, and that's what I like about DC. The Superman stuff has never been kind of my thing. I like if I'm going DC, I go dark, gritty. Like I got Marvel for the other stuff. Like DC
Sure.
is like Batman and Gotham. And
That's
I
what
loved
he's-
Joker. Like I said, he's my favorite villain of all time.
These two different versions.
No. Well, you know what's so dumb? Like, I'm so glad they didn't have Metropolis like across the bridge, Hey! Like we were joking like Superman's just watching eating popcorn as all this is going down. Like
cross the
whatever.
river.
I'm so glad they didn't do that. But I loved it. And then if you guys want to come talk about it tomorrow, I'll be live over on my YouTube channel, probably about 1
time?
p.m. Eastern time. I'm waiting on times for an interview that I'm supposed to be doing. And of course, it's any time between 12 and like 5 p.m. So I don't know when it will be. Usually it's about 1 p.m. But if you subscribe and hit the notification bell, you'll be notified when I'm live. And also, I have that interview with the fake boy band coming up. So that's super
There
fun
you go.
too.
Awesome.
Not to interrupt as you're finishing, but is this like a cartoon boy band, like cartoon gorillas, but a boy band?
So
Is it, like I don't want to tangentialize this. We're trying to
It's-
finish
it's-
up, but like I kind of need to know.
So it's
should've,
I mean it's an animated movie,
Okay.
Turning Red, and so they're an animated boy band. But I got to speak to the voices
Okay.
behind them. I didn't talk to them in animated form.
Yeah.
They were human
That's a
beings.
bummer.
It would have been very
bummer.
cool.
They were all in character too.
Yeah.
The interview.
I will say Jordan Fisher is one of them, and I had asked them if there was a boy band or a band that they would have done anything to get to see, because that's kind of the premise. This girl May does crazy stuff to earn money, not like that, but it sounds very
That
bad.
elevated.
I
It seems-
described that wrong.
It could be an
but
R-rated film right there.
It's a family film.
yes.
So you say.
But Jordan Fisher said NSYNC, and I said, not to make you jealous, but I've seen them like over 20 times. So
That's awesome. All right. Aaron?
My final thoughts on the Batman.
Yeah.
All right,
Take us home.
So Matt Reeves, hope you're listening, because we need Venetian blinds. Catwoman
It's a
needs those
must.
goggles. We need Mr. Freeze. What else do we need? More shots of Batman's boots and Catwoman's boots.
More shots of Batman just, Not in his suit. That'd be cool.
More shots of Batman outside of his
Robert
suit,
Pattinson,
preferably
you know?
hanging out with Gordon.
Just shirtless. That'd be-
shirtless.
that'd be like my ideal
Batman with
thing
just
right
his
there,
helmet
yeah.
on, shirtless, with Jeff Gordon, not Jim Gordon. Jim Gordon's out of the movie. Now it's just Jeff Gordon.
Skittles car in NASCAR.
Oh goodness.
And they're just hanging out on top of a building with the bat shirtless with the bat
On
signal.
horses.
What about the Batmobile?
I
Is
mean,
that there too?
That could be around. It'll be in pieces. Jeff Gordon's working on it.
Jeff Gordon.
Really good.
Can someone make this happen, please?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron, like you and Lucas could talk about how to draw this in the next episode.
We'll just deconstruct the train wreck of our ending here. It'll be the next few shows. Us deconstructing what's happening right now.
Yeah, sure. So is that it?
That's it for now, Matt Reeves.
Yeah.
What's that?
Because you're gonna Lucas will end up being the last guy to sign us out, but like Evan's been doing the
Evan.
whole thing.
Talk
What are your
loudly.
closing thoughts?
Yeah, you
Can
want
we-
to
can
come
we
over?
swing
You
the
can come
mic
over
over
here. People are chatting. They miss you and stuff. You gotta. No, they're chatting.
Just Aaron's wife.
come over
outta
here.
Wow. Mr. Lee, take us home.
Faithful viewers.
You've been listening to the Oswego Comic Shop does a podcast featuring Mama's Geeky.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in to our manic discussion about the Batman.
The Batman.
Featuring
Yeah,
other
was just
people
me.
other
I
people
was
too.
the only
Well,
one.
I'll let you guys sign up too, but I wanted to make sure we highlighted.
Well, they
you.
already kind of signed out. Now is your.
What do you want me to do?
112
Thank you for
East
joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Comic Shop.
You've been listening to The Comic Shop Does a Podcast with me, Aaron Z. Lee, Lucas Brewer, Evan Coy, Martin Kinney, Alex Dexter, Jonathan Ashline, and Tessa Smith.
Yeah.
Okay,
AKA
thank God.
Mama's Geeky.
I know.
Of Mama's Geeky. Please tune in next week as we do something else.
Can we get a
Yes,
can we
I'm-
get a 112 East Bridge Street, the
Oh.
comic shop from everybody in unison?
Oh, that'd be cool.
We've been broadcasting live from The Comic Shop,
112 East Bridge Street.
The
The
Comic
comic
shop.
shop.
No, you can't.
You can't. It's very hard.
It's
It's too many people.
All right, that's a wrap.
Everybody.
That's a wrap. Thank you. Go watch the Batman. Bye.
Take your kids.